Anime begins with Seiichi Hiragi, a teenage Japanese boy, struggles. He was teased and endured a rough life in school owing to his unappealing looks. But then a tipping moment occurs. Suddenly, the weird voice heard on the school's radio transported me to another dimension. Seiichi and his classmates are abruptly teleported to a different universe by a mystery god. Seiichi is cut off from his classmates and finds himself in a wilderness, where he must spend the next 5 months learning how to survive alone. During that period, he discovers puzzling fruits that strengthen his body and gives him a more aesthetically pleasing appearance. Seiichi is attacked by Saria, a gorilla-like female monster who has fallen in love with him after seeing his strength in a fight, hunting, and using magic. Furthermore, it is ignored how stated God erased any evidence of the school's kids and professors' existence just to prevent the tremendous hassle. This means that none of their family remembers or recognizes them. Seiichi, having beaten Kaiser Kong the gorilla monster, proposes to her. Seiichi begins to live with a gorilla named Saria. Despite her pure and direct generosity, she attempts to flee because the other party is a gorilla. Seiichi becomes more uneasy in the presence of Saria and seeks to flee by exploring a tunnel she had previously told him about. Seiichi feels uneasy around Saria and tries to escape through a cave Saria has warned him about. Unfortunately, Seiichi is beaten by the Dark Lord Xenos, the cave's lone resident. The fight between Xenos and Seiichi, who possesses the power of the previous boss class, has begun. However, Seiichi is now in danger. Saria was the one who stepped right in front of him at the moment. Saria manages to save him, but at a great personal cost. Xenos is accidentally released from his curse of undeath and allowed to enter the afterlife after enraged Seiichi kills him in combat. Both Seiichi and Saria go through their final stages of evolution, with Saria becoming human and Seiichi gaining more magical strength. Additionally, Mr. Sheep, the warden of Xenos' dungeon, visits them as they discover the awful history of Xenos. Seiichi and Saria receive travel funds and a kit from Mr. Sheep that could enable them to reap further evolutionary benefits. Seiichi and Saria decide to leave the forest together. The monarch proclaims Seiichi's classmates heroes, and they begin training. Karen Kanazuki, one of the few persons in the class who cared for Seiichi, is upset by some of his classmates' dissatisfaction with the training sessions and desire to witness actual combat. Saria seems to have died in the struggle. She became a gorgeous woman and returned to life after devouring the fruit of evolution. Seiichi departs Saria and the woodland for the royal capital. This is to track down Senior Kanazuki, who is an alumni. Seiichi and Saria travel to Tilbert, the royal capital of Vimberg. In the royal capital, Seiichi seeks to participate in the Adventurers Guild. The awaiting people, on the other hand, were quite unusual, like a dark-skinned macho and Mr. S. Seiichi encounters Altria, a female adventurer with a purpose, among them. To join the local Adventurers Guild and obtain official IDs, Seiichi wins membership for himself and Saria despite being disturbed by the members' fetishes. They must perform little duties under the supervision of an experienced guild mate, Arturia Grimm, to become official members. Seiichi is charged with aiding in the destruction of a nearby building and minding a noblewoman's dog while Saria cares for some kids in a church. Seiichi and Saria finish their tasks and are formally accepted into the guild. Under Arturia's supervision, an A-class adventurer was given the name Catastrophe owing to her terrible luck curse from birth. She is a lovely young lady with a dark complexion, shoulder-length flowing white hair, and bright eyes. When Seiichi first saw her, he described her as a dark beauty. Seiichi and Saria carry on with their testing until Seiichi notices 3 demons putting up portals heading to the dungeon where the Black Dragon God resides. The following day, as Seiichi and Saria start their final exam, the demon's transfer spell transports the 3 to the labyrinth. They are teleported inside the dungeon, which has a vast labyrinth, and they are transferred inside the dungeon, which has a huge maze, together with Arturia. Artoria must find a means to connect with Siechi and Saria after stepping on a stone that creates a substantial barrier between them. When she confronts the Black Dragon God at the dungeon's lowest level, Siechi and Saria are just in time to save her from certain death. She barely survives the Black Dragon God's attacks. Siechi saves the dying Altria and dares the Black Dragon God to fight. Despite having to battle, the Black Dragon God, who had fearsome strength, was able to defeat it. After defeating the Black Dragon God, Siechi gains the ability to use spatial magic, which he then used to return his allies to the guild. Artoria feels bad for putting Siechi in jeopardy and is shocked to see that he would risk his life to save her. She tells him about how she came to be known as the Calamity and explains that she was born with 2,000,000 points of bad luck. That caused her to deliver terrible luck to everyone she encountered. Thankfully, Siechi presents her with a unique ring he discovered back at the dungeon. Despite the ring nullifying her curse, Artoria runs away in shame, believing Siechi has just proposed to her. Altria hides from everyone, regretting her fate. Siechi pursues her to support her. The remaining commanders of the Demon Lord's army learn about the death of the Black Dragon God, which makes them fear that someone is attempting to reopen the human-demon conflict. Siechi visits Tilbert's royal library at the suggestion of Gussel and Eris to learn more about his fellow students. When it doesn't work, he tries to read magic-related books and unintentionally boosts his magic power. Later, after eating in a local cafe, he strikes into a conversation with the owner, Nord, and a regular named Rands. Nord and Rands counsel him to be truthful with Artoria and make things right with her after he reveals that he feels bad about having just put her in an awkward situation. Adriana, a friend of Artoria, counsels her to tell Siechi about her affection for him. Siechi is already in love with Saria, but Artoria confesses her love for him when they reunite. Saria decides to share Siechi with Artoria, and their friends all support the decision. On a beautiful day, Saria and Siechi pass the exam and join the Adventurers Guild while their relationship becomes jerky. The Kaiser Empire planned to enslave Kanazuki and others from another globe and send them to the Barbador Magic Academy during that time. Siechi, on the other hand, visits the royal capital and meets a variety of individuals. They plan to confront Altria with their remarks in mind. It was bright outside, and Siechi was bound to Altria. Enter the world of a winning team led by two stunning women named Saria Altria. Now an A-rank adventurer, Siechi decides to get a horse following Gussel's advice. As Siechi was told to buy a horse to make his adventuring easy, Gasser went to a monster store to buy one, and there he met Lillian, a donkey who doesn't like humans who are not strong, and when any human, male, approached her she would kick him, even the shopkeeper, as her mother told her she should provide her service to only those she finds worthy and strong. When she met Siechi she tried to attack her, but after trying several times she gave in and recognized Siechi as her master, and Siechi agrees to buy her. Siechi discovers a young artist named Mei talking with her friend Clay about entering the royal art competition, which is held a month after the royal race after he has purchased food for Lillian. Mei is doubtful if she should compete, but Siechi suggests a trade. If he succeeds in the royal race, Mei will enter the exhibition. She accepts, but on the day of the competition, Lillian falls ill because she skipped breakfast. Monsters, taken aback by the absurd death race, rushed into it as well, and chaos ensued. Thankfully, Siechi gives her some of his evolutionary fruits, enabling her to take first place. But because of the benefits of evolution Siechi gave Lillian before the race, she transforms into a human form thereafter. Siechi is brought to Wimberg's royal castle as the race's victor, where he meets Louise Balls, the Valkyrie's captain. To gauge Siechi's abilities, she challenges him to a training match. She becomes herself to be his apprentice when he wins the match. The Valkyries rush in to stop the assassin as she suddenly attacks the king of Wimberg. The scene where Siechi is haphazardly whisked away by those Valkyries we sort of met previously is what we need to think about for him to win last week's race. A day with these stunning warrior ladies, complete with a simulated fight with Louise, the Rose of some sails, and the best Valkyrie of all. It is here that the good Seiichi wields his godlike powers and captures this powerful and independent woman in his thrall, and he does so with the modesty of an incredibly dumb dork who still does not know the reality-shaping rewards he has already been regularly swinging against the unworthy and unholy. The assassin's youth is revealed by Seiichi using magic. To the chagrin of Lucia's advisor Kreis, who is pushing for war against the humans, Seiichi's classmates are transferred to Barbador Magical Academy, and the Demon Nation's ruling council, led by Lucia, the Demon Lord's daughter, decides to negotiate for peace with Vimberg. Auriga, the assassin who assaulted the king, was a little girl. Seiichi keeps her aggressive girlfriend under control. The curse, however, had put the king into a coma. At the castle's training grounds, Seiichi spots the assassin and easily catches her. He recognizes the killer as Auriga Calmeria and sends the Valkyries to question her. Due to Auriga's curse, the king is still in critical condition, and Seiichi can only save him by conjuring his healing magic. Altria was concerned about Seiichi being escorted to the lovely Valkyrie at the moment. Talia was also perplexed by her sentiments of jealousy, which she was experiencing for the first time in her life. In the royal palace, on the other side, a horrifying cross-examination of Auriga is about to commence in a location where Seiichi is not. He also learns that the king is Ranz, the one who had before given him advice on how to handle his amorous difficulties with Artoria. Ranz rewards Seiichi by letting him use the castle to hone his magic and combat abilities. Zakia, the veteran soldier who taught Seiichi's classmates how to fight, is horrified to learn that Aelio, the Kaiser Emperor's hired mage, put bracelets on the students to keep them from becoming a threat to the kingdom. She questions the Emperor's decision to send them to Barbador Magical Academy. A sudden assassination attempt on the king prompts Zakia to go after him. Seiichi and Louise observe Auriga being questioned by Lorna, one of Louise's Valkyries. When they learn that Auriga is subject to the Kaiser Empire's orders, they cease the interrogation. Seiichi can free Auriga from the slave collar by casting his liberation spell. Seiichi is set free from his curse after discovering his tragic background. The Kaiser Empire, the major cause, is the target of passionate rage. Despite being compelled to seek monster activity close to Wimberg's borders, Louise asks Seiichi to watch over Ranz while she is away. In the meantime, Shuren, an archer who attempted to kill the Kaiser Emperor, is confronted by Zakia. Shuren was horrified by the murder of the demon woman he loved and vowed to exact revenge on the Kaiser Empire for its harsh treatment of demonic beings. As a result of Shuren's escape, Zakia is forced to reconsider his allegiance to the Empire. Tilburg has successfully held against the first wave of monsters thanks to the combined efforts of the remaining soldiers from Vimberg and the local guild of adventurers. Unfortunately, the monster army's reinforcements show up, leaving the defenders with no way to flee. Barnabas, a transcendent magician, has come to the kingdom of Vimberg. He was the director of the Barbador Magic Academy, which was home to Kanazuki's seniors. According to Barnabas, a valiant guy arrives from another world with a dilemma. Barnabas, who served as Ranz's mentor, visits Arkel. He informs Ranz about the kids that have lately transferred to his school, Barbador Magical Academy, which causes Seiichi to understand that those new students are his Japanese classmates. Suddenly, a soldier notifies Ranz that a monster army has launched an attack on Tilburg. A swarm of monsters is claimed to have arisen in the forest near the kingdom. Valkyrie, the Adventurers Guild, and Saria were standing in their way. A massive fight between monsters and Kiwamono has begun. Louise and her Valkyries have joined an army led by the Black Paladin, Wimberg's greatest soldier, to combat monsters on Wimberg's boundaries, preventing them from assisting in the defense of Tilburg. Wimberg's surviving soldiers and the local adventure guild band together to defend Tilburg and successfully repel the first wave of monsters. The Tilburg defenders are untouched as the opposing army is destroyed by Seiichi's offensive spell Judgment. Barnabas, who is impressed by Seiichi's talent, commends him for saving the city and offers him a job as a teacher at Barbador. He invites Seiichi to join the Barbador Magic Academy as an instructor. Seiichi, looking forward to meeting his seniors, took the opportunity, and Seiichi accepts on the condition that he waits until Louise and her Valkyries return to Tilbert to assure Rand's safety. Seiichi and his pals leave for Barbador when Louise returns to Tilbert, with a pledge to come back. But it spelled the end of the kingdom of Vimberg. Seiichi turns up with something in the time remaining. Saria Altria, Lurine, Olga, and others were there. Kreis is disappointed to find that Tilbert was not eliminated by the monster army. The Demon Lord, who intended to utilize the resentment sparked by the destruction of the city to resurrect himself, is furious with him because of this failure. The Demon Lord vows to find another means to reclaim his power since he simply sees his failure as a brief setback. Seiichi's winning life and evolutionary otherworld adventures comes to an end right here.